I got them coming at me all angles. Ever since they heard my music, wanna tangle. I could feel them try to grab me by the ankles. I can hear them all start to say my name, oh. But it's not about the money or the fame, no. No, it's all about me just doing my thing, yo. Cause I'm loving what I do and that won't change, no. I feel blessed, I could do this every day, yo.
Pop a couple shots and now I'm fucked up in the bathroom. Got them going off and now they listen like a classroom. Gotta top them off because I told them all they have to. Always popping off the whole squad, gotta pass. Gotta keep your head high through the hate, yo. Gotta make a better life through the pain, yo. Got a chance to do it right, so do your thing, yo. Don't let anybody ever try to change, yeah. I feel blessed, yeah. Yeah, I feel blessed, yeah. I feel blessed, yeah. Yeah, I feel blessed, yeah.
I got them coming at me all angles. Ever since they heard my music, wanna tangle. I could feel them try to grab me by the ankles. I can hear them all start to say my name, oh. But it's not about the money or the fame, no. No, it's all about me just doing my thing, yo. Cause I'm loving what I do and that won't change, no. I feel blessed, I could do this every day, yo.
Living every day like it's my last day cause you have to. Any given day could be your final chance to act. You got only one life, live it right, don't hold back. Do exactly what you like, you gotta fight for your chance. Gotta rest in peace when you pass. You best believe I'll be the last dude to ever leave regretting past news. I'll never be holding back truth. I feel blessed, yeah. Yeah, I feel blessed, yeah. I feel blessed, yeah. Yeah, I feel blessed, yeah.
I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. And welcome to the Day of the Dead. It's a little Day of the Dead show, early show. Trying to get this out the way so that way probably take the evening off. Probably do something later on tonight. Just trying to lay low, not do anything too much. But I hope you guys are having a good morning or you had a good sleep. I didn't. My episodes are happening again. It happened again last night where something is attacking my brain at night. Really hard, like rude awakenings with sharp pains in my head. Most likely I'm going to have to end up going to the hospital. I hate going to the hospital. I'm trying to hold off as much as I can because I cannot stand going to the hospital because every time I go to the hospital, they keep me there for a week. And you know how it is to be in the hospital for a week. That fucking sucks because you don't properly rest. They constantly waking you up. They constantly sticking you with needles and all this bullshit. And it's overwhelming for me. And last night I had over 6 episodes and they weren't fun. I tried going back to sleep, and next thing you know, I'm having another episode where I'm just my whole head is being attacked, and to the point my fingers even got all numb on the right hand. I haven't had that yet, but it attacked my right hand and everything from my chest here, even my legs went numb. So most likely I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I just don't want to go to the emergency room. I try my hardest to stay away from that place because all that place does not make you better. It makes you worse. It makes me feel worse every time I go to the hospital because they always find something and they always want to operate something. And then I'm stuck there for 2-3 weeks. And I know with this episodes that I'm happening in my head, I'm definitely will end up being in the hospital for a week or two. And I don't want to be in the hospital like that. So I'm going to have to figure stuff out. I did talk to, my couple of my primary, not really my primary, I speak to her on Thursday. I have an appointment, but my chiropractor and my physical therapist know. They already put it on their notes. I'm going to make an appointment to see the neurologist, see if they can put an EEG on me to monitor what the fuck is going on as far as waves and brain waves that are happening. I may have to do another sleep study so they could monitor and see why I'm getting these attacks in my brain. It's just not fun right now. And when I say it's a rude awakening, you literally jump out of bed and you stand up and you're like, what the fuck? That's literally what's been happening to me. My next step is to record my sleep pattern at night. I'm actually going to rotate that camera to my bed and just record overnight just to see what I'm doing while I'm sleeping to get this effect that's happening to me in my head. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a blood clot or if it's something that's going on with my nerves. Ever since I did that EMG, my nerves and everything have been just going crazy. I don't know if I'm getting if I have a short circuit and it's attacking my brain at night and it's radiating through my body and causing me to feel like I'm dying. It's just weird, man. It's just really, 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 really scary. It's really scary to sleep. That's what sucks. But I'm definitely might have to go to the hospital, but it's just I want to talk to my doctors first. I just don't want to go in there and go to the emergency room because, like I said, the emergency room, they're there to help, but they're there to make money too. And they're gonna poke and do all this stuff, all these tests, and you're gonna be waiting around on a very uncomfortable bed, and then you have like all these sounds and noises, and it just bothers the hell out of me. I just don't like going to the hospitals, especially the emergency room. But I may have to, and that's gonna suck. I'm trying to hold off for as much as I can, but I'm trying to see if the pattern continues to happen. It happened Monday night into Tuesday morning. It happened Wednesday night into Thursday, and then Thursday night into Friday, and then it happened Friday night to Saturday. I had 3 days in a row that I had this episode, and last night was the worst of them all because it kept happening. Like it happened and then it'll go away, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it's gone. So I fall back to sleep, and literally 10 minutes later, I'm getting attacked again in my brain. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? It's like it's a really strong joke. It's like punching you in your brain, like not in your face, but punching you in your brain as hard as I can. And like that's the feeling. Like it's so painful. And it's so sharp. It's like, and then it goes away, and it's like, what the hell is going on, man? I'm being like, I don't know if I'm being targeted or what. I don't know. I don't understand. But I do have some news for us to watch. So let me set this up, and let's get to it. This is probably going to be the only show for the day because, like I said, I want to lay low tonight, and we all should lay low. It is the Day of the Dead, and I always like to go to a cemetery and drop off a couple of candles to random individuals. I'll probably end up doing that tonight. And I might pass by, if possible, I may pass by Jasmine Torres Mimi, where she was found. I have not made my way out there, but I do know the location where it's located. I'm going to see if I can try to make my way out there. I definitely don't want to go alone, so I'll probably have someone come with me, and that way I could lay out the candles for her. But other than that, let's start off with the Armageddon because we're in the Snappocalypse. The Snappocalypse is here. It is November 1st. The money that people were anticipating on their EBTs did not get to their accounts. It is on hold. We don't know how long this is going to be on hold for. Survival is the game, and you should have budgeted yourself out better. A lot of people don't know how to budget themselves and don't know how to like pull money to the side for rainy days and have money for food, and then the supplemental that you get that holds you off and gets you to the finish line. But a lot of people were just using and abusing the system and taking thousands upon thousands of dollars, and then we're all screwed now because of Joe Biden. Thank you, Joe, you piece of shit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. Let me set this up here real quick. And here we go.
Fox News alert. Tensions, anger, and fear for millions of Americans caught up in the federal government shutdown, now in day 31. U.S. Senate Democrats are under extreme pressure after spending yet another full week blocking Republicans' efforts to pass a clean
good morning,
bill
Terry.
and reopen the government.
Just saw you there,
pay
man.
People and put cash back in critical programs. Democrats
All
are
Saints
giving
Day.
a
Yep, also it's All
drug
Saints
of
Day.
emotional violence, toying.
A lot of
with people's
celebrations
suffering.
happening today.
I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus.
Didn't sleep at all.
The pain of the
That
shutdown
sucks.
is being felt. It's about to get infinitely worse.
Oh,
Federal food assistance to more than
or
42
something.
million Americans
They give you
expires
wings.
tomorrow. also at risk. The Head Start preschool program for little ones across the country. And
I was in the hospital
enrollment
for a year,
the Affordable
Terry.
Care Act. That's right.
3
Democrats have
months,
said on
3
the Hill
months sucks.
they are holding
But
out in the
imagine
Senate
being in the
for some
hospital for a
deal
whole
to
year.
lower the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's a mystery.
I was
because
in
right now they
2013.
expect people to pay for that enrollment during a shutdown when millions of them are not getting paychecks.
That's crazy. Put this on pause in a second so he'll hear me better. Yeah, 3 months sucks, Terry. But imagine being in the hospital for a year. Actually, a year and a month, because I didn't get out the whole 2013. I was in the hospital, and I didn't get out until January of 2014, and it was a whole year of torture. I will never forget that year. That 2013, that shit gives me really bad PTSD. That's why I smoke a lot of weed, and I'm just so antsy sometimes, and my brain, the way it works, and I'm getting attacked at nights now. It's just not good. It just sucks. But I hate ERs at the time. I was there. I got hit with a $125 bill plus a $295 ambulance bill and $50 to take a cab home because I didn't have a car. Damn, that sucks, bro. I have to get those. I get those sharp pains in my head too a lot. Yeah, I get them when I'm asleep though. When I'm sleeping, it's like it wakes me up in the middle of the night with really sharp pain in my brain. Yeah, I didn't get my food stamps either, but I'm good on food. All right, that's good. I can imagine I was there in 92. Yeah, I was there in 2013 for a whole year. The whole year. I have pictures somewhere. One of the laptops, I have pictures and video of what I went through. I almost died on that one. There's a couple of instances that I almost died, and I did die in one of them, and they brought me back. So I have had a lot of close encounters with death. That's for damn sure. And it's scary, when the doctor comes in and tells you, listen, if I don't open you up right now, you're going to die. Imagine hearing that from your fucking doctor. It's wild. All right, let's continue on with the story here.
Republicans are not the only ones asking Dems to end this all. So far, 5 unions and 4 of the largest airlines have called on lawmakers on the left to pass Republicans' clean bill to fund the government. Watch this.
The biggest way to ensure the safety, security, and reliability of our national air traffic control system is to pass a clean continuing resolution.
Everyone knows, the Vice President, Congress, is that this shutdown needs to end now. It has to happen now. These guys need to convene, say yes to that clean CR, get this thing back on track, and again, restore that confidence in the American public.
But let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure and without putting the American workers and the American economy at risk.
Dems are adrift with no common sense. I mean, obviously. These people know what they're talking about. They're leading people. They need this to stop now. And the pressure on Dems, struggling to pinpoint exactly what is in the Republican bill that warrants a shutdown, is mind-boggling. But it's true. It's a fact. Why can't they say what's in it? Watch this.
Should Democrats pass a standalone bill to fund SNAP benefits?
Good morning. Well, let's be clear. Republicans run the House. They run the Senate.
Is that a yes, then, that there should be a vote on the standalone legislation?
I'm here. My Republican colleagues are on vacation. I don't play politics. I want a clean bill that focuses on the American people.
This lady's stupid.
We have a clean CR vote on September 19th in the House. Did you vote for it?
I disagree with your characterization and want to make sure that we're very clear about
it was a clear TR. And she didn't vote for it. She voted no.
They've put forth, they've always had some extra stuff to it. There's always been a poison pill to it.
What were the poison pills of the clean CR or the continuing resolution? You say it's not clean, that was voted on in the House in mid-September.
Here's what's important. What you're trying to do is shift the responsibility to Democrats.
Listen to her. What an idiot.
She doesn't know.
What a fucking idiot.
She doesn't know what the poison pills were in that clean CR. There aren't any, and she can't make an interesting or correct argument because she doesn't know what's in it, or because there aren't any, or both. It's beyond sad. It's disgusting. Republican Senator Ashley Moody in Focus coming up. First, let's begin with senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Chad.
Harris, good morning. We're slamming into the first major inflection point of the shutdown. Travel delays coupled with the lack of SNAP benefits is a volatile political mixture. There's worry about holiday travel. The administration is blaming Democrats for the shutdown.
I know the day after Thanksgiving is the busiest travel day in America, and if our airports are shut down,
they voted no every single time, Terry, 14 times.
They'll be the Grinches who stole Thanksgiving.
We're a clean CR bill.
Democrats are raging that the Trump administration is not doling out SNAP benefits during the shutdown. That's always happened during previous shutdowns.
They get their feelings hurt, and they bitch and whine all the time
for saying it could not provide SNAP benefits.
Republicans hold press conferences every day, and you know
I
what
can't
they do?
stand
They
this
lie to the
motherfucker
American
with his
people.
finger
They
up in
haven't
the
spoken
air.
a word of truth
Who are
to the
you
American
fingering
people other
with
than
that finger?
what Mike Johnson admitted
See?
today, which is
That's
that
all he
they
knows how to
want to
do is
rip
finger
away
the
SNAP
air.
benefits from 42 million Americans.
Can't stand this fucker.
Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins appeared with House Speaker Mike Johnson at the Capitol today. Rollins said she is barred from tapping an emergency fund for SNAP.
That's the contingency fund that we would use to send more money into the vulnerable communities that are harmed by a specific event like a hurricane. Even if it could flow, it doesn't even cover half of the month of November. So here we are again in 2 weeks having the exact same conversation.
Yep. Delta Airlines and United want the shutdown to end. Airline delays are increasing. Now, this morning, there are 50-minute delays related to staffing in Austin and 67 minutes in Nashville. Harris?
Chad, thank you. Even the left-leaning Washington Post has had enough from Democrats. The editorial board argues, quote, the right answer is to reopen the government with a clean funding bill, ideally for a full year, to get food stamps flowing and federal workers back in office, and then have a debate about ACA, that is Obamacare subsidies. Democrats openly acknowledge that they refuse to do this because it would mean giving up their leverage. If they persist,
fucked up.
it could mean families start to go hungry.
That's fucked up.
Senator Ashley Moody, Republican of Florida, member of
man, with these Democrats,
Economic,
man,
Judiciary, and Homeland Security Committees. Great to have you today. Break this down for me.
But they blame the Republicans. That's all they know how to do.
Of something happening before the expiration of SNAP.
Well, I am so glad that you showed some of those clips and the responses of the Democrats. What's becoming abundantly clear is they cannot explain, even when being pleaded to by liberal-leaning organizations, unions, liberal media outlets, on and on and on. Please pass a clean funding bill. This is a bipartisan bill to open back up the government. They have nothing to say. It's because they have blindly followed Chuck Schumer in his quest to appease a radical base
and
save his hide. And they don't know why they're doing it. They're just blindly following him.
Yeah, because they're
and
fucking idiots.
neglecting to pay attention not only to the voters that put them there, but to their responsibilities to serve in a good faith way as a senator and operate the government. And the real challenge is, I believe, their entire point of this thing was to shut down the government.
Yeah.
Because you now have people that have been elected into office who don't like America, that want it to look like an entirely different country
our
than
pain
it was
is
set
their
up to
leverage.
be. They
That's
want government
so
to tell you how to
fucking
live
true,
your
Terry.
life. They want you to tell you how to run your markets. I mean, it's a really scary time when you have people elected to office and their goal is to shut down the United States of America.
That's the funny
and
part,
that's where
Terry.
we are right now.
Judges
You know,
are
it's so
trying to
interesting,
control
too,
the
what you're
country
saying
now,
about
saying,
Representative
release
Janelle
the money.
Bynum in the House.
You're
She
just
had
a
already
judge.
decided she
You're
was
not the
against
president of the
thing
United
and clearly
States.
didn't even know what was in the Clean CR.
You're not even part of the fucking Supreme Court. You're just a
She'd
local
made that decision,
traffic judge.
and the power doesn't even really
What
rest
the
there
fuck?
now. It's in the Senate. And
Oh,
if the
the
Senate
traffic
does
judge
the
is
right
going to
thing
come and say,
and
open
reopens
the government. I
that
demand
doesn't
it
have
now.
anything to do with
Get the fuck
irrelevant
outta
Bynum
here.
at this point, because it passed the House.
And especially
Like, I
an
don't think he understands how
Obama-appointed
this
judge.
works.
Are you kidding me?
No, and the challenge here is that you have senators that aren't stepping back and listening to the people that elected them to open this government back up. And that is a scary time. I mean, Congress is the American people. We are the place where the American people have their voices heard. And it appears we have senators right now that are ignoring the people that put them in office to represent them. I mean, there is a majority call to open back up this government. And it is a scary thing. And I think that's why you're hearing frustration from President Trump and so many other people where, like,
unions,
this is something we haven't had
CEOs.
to deal with in the past.
Yeah. All right, let's get to this. We have been talking about the real pain American families are facing as Democrats refuse to reopen the government, admittedly for political leverage. We know that from Katherine Clark, right? She spoke on behalf, I guess, of all Democrats when she spoke as a lawmaker last week. The images are stark and very sad. People are already lining up for food assistance at pantries across America, and many of those facilities cannot keep up with the now empty shelves. I mean, just in days. And the people who defend our nation are hit hard too. Many military families live paycheck to paycheck, especially those who've just entered, those younger fighters that we have. And so their early salaries matter, and they qualify for them to make federal food assistance. So they're banking on this not expiring this weekend. This video from a YMCA in Killeen, Texas, operates a food bank for service members. It has been overwhelmed with service members bracing for missed paychecks soon if the government stays closed. Watch this.
Many folks are deployed right now overseas from Fort Hood and from other locations. And the last thing you want to have when you're deployed overseas is be worrying about the next paycheck and how do you take care of your family who are back wherever they live in the U.S.
Senator Moody, we are blessed to have those men and women in concert around the world for us in our military. They will stay on their jobs and hold our sovereignty and our values. They ought to get paid to do it. All of these people. And by the way, this is the percentage of the population using SNAP right now, while you give us your reaction.
And this is the last thing we want them to be thinking about right now at this time in our world. I come from a military family. It is heartbreaking. The oldest boy in our family is right now in active duty. He said to me, I have over 100 people that are cold and wet and just came off a training exercise, and they have no idea if they're going to get paid. Are they going to get paid? What can I tell them? This is the longest shutdown in American history, the longest full shutdown in American history. It tells you something about the people that have been elected to the Senate that aren't paying attention to their role, their good faith role as a senator to push this government and open it back up for the people. And they can do that. We already have Democrats voting with us. We just need a few more to stand up, grow a backbone, and vote to serve their country. It is an incredibly important right now. I'm the newest senator. This place is broken. We need to fix it. And I'm pleading with my colleagues.
Let's open back up the government so we can serve the people.
Well, I tell you what, you're educating us, because you're right. On Monday, we will tie the longest ever. And that's because everybody's already leaving Washington. They started leaving yesterday. So it's almost like the weekend doesn't even count, but it counts for those families. It counts. I'm so glad you were in focus today. Thank you.
Great to be with you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host, Harris Falk.
Yeah, I mean, grab me a violin and let me start playing it, because like the Democrats are deflecting and throwing it to the Republicans and saying, oh, it's the Republicans' fault and this and this and this and that. Really? Should we go back to the last time we had this issue? And whose fault was it? Because Biden was fucking president of the United States. And you guys pushed all these bills and got them passed and got this Obama bullshit passed. And just was throwing money out the fucking door and out the window and everywhere. They were just throwing money at people. Like, you get money, you're illegal. Guess what? Here's a fucking debit card and it has money in it. You can take it out anytime you want. And don't worry, every month it's going to be replenished with the same amount we just gave you, $3,000. Congratulations, illegal. Now go live somewhere in America. Like, are you kidding me? I listen, the program is like, it's abused. it's at a point that it's on life support. The program cannot fund to keep everyone fed. It's only for Americans, but yet they gave them to illegals. And the fact that, how is that legal and how is that happening and how come nobody's being held accountable? It blows my mind. It truly does. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't want them to tap into the emergency money. Hello, that is for emergencies. What we're going through right now is not an emergency. It's a democratic shutdown, and they're just making it seem like it is an emergency, but it's not, because it's all conjured up by the Democrats. Are you kidding me? Like, it doesn't. All we need is 5 fucking Democrats to vote yes and open up the government. That's all it takes. 5. But nobody wants to step up because they're scared that they're gonna get primaried, and they're gonna have to fight for their lives and fight for their jobs. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, I can't. Like, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I am supposed to die. I don't have to be watching this shit, because it's just ridiculous how, like, people don't even know how to fucking take care of themselves. It's like, I can't. Let's go on to the next story and let's keep it moving, because it's very familiar. It's the same territory. It's all about the snap. I think I got like a few stories about the snap. Yeah, I got like 4 more stories, and a couple of about the military too. I got 2 stories about the military and 2 more about the SNAP program. So let's go ahead and keep it moving.
Across the country, and nearly 2 million people living right here in Illinois are now without SNAP benefits this morning after the program ran out of money late last night. Now, 2 federal judges have stepped in, one ordering the Trump administration to release emergency funds to keep SNAP going, while another ruled the administration's attempt to suspend funds is unlawful. The White House now says it's working to comply with those rulings, but it's not clear what the path forward will look like for the millions of Americans who rely on the program to get food on the table. 12% of families in the Chicago area rely on SNAP. That's more than
That's Chicago reporting that. That is not true. They're not releasing those funds.
More than 40% include someone with a disability.
That's
nearly
bullshit.
40% include someone 60 years
That's
or
bullshit.
older. And
They're
more
not
than
releasing those funds.
45% have a minor. Our ABC data team analyzed numbers from the U.S. Consensus American Community Survey. You can see the percentage of households with SNAP recipients broken down by county.
It's going to be literally, do I pay my rent? Do I feed my family? Do what you have to do in order to survive and have hope that it is going to get better.
And as the government shutdown persists for more than a month now, the president says he's told government lawyers to ask a federal judge how he can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible, saying if the court gives direction, it, quote, will be my honor to provide the funding. Chicago Public Schools is also assuring families that regardless of whether SNAP is funded or not, students will still get a free lunch at school.
Yeah, all you have to give them is like they did to me, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I was lucky I got jelly on my peanut butter sandwich. So like you're gonna have to struggle like all we did back in the days. When my application for food didn't go through on a timely, like in a proper timely fashion, guess what? I had to eat peanut butter sandwiches from the school. All they gave me was a peanut butter sandwich and a milk. There you go. That was my lunch. You don't think these kids could survive on that? I did. I'm here. Give them peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There you go. Move on. Like these people would be like, what you want? You want to give these kids a buffet? And all you can eat buffet, and so they can get more fatter and more unhealthy. All they've been giving these fucking kids is nothing but junk food. All right, let's keep it moving because I want to get through this pretty quick. Let me restart this because for some reason StreamYard is up to their fucking bullshit again, and it's just not good. So let me restart this. All right, this is I guess this is out of LA too. So let's see what we got here.
Now at 10:30, the Trump administration has been ordered to pay SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans amid the government shutdown. Two federal judges ruled today the Trump administration must use contingency funds to pay for the nation's biggest food assistance program.
But the money won't be restored immediately, and it's unclear how long it will take to get the funds into the hands of those who need it. Sandra Mitchell live in Hollywood with the latest on the food crisis and what families can do in the meantime. Sandra.
Micah, in just 90 minutes at midnight tonight, the federal food benefits will be paused. So many local agencies are now stepping up to help. We'll tell you about one in just a moment. Meanwhile, millions of people here in California are caught in the middle of this political standoff. Angelinos lined up at food distribution sites today, worried about an end to their federal benefits.
I don't know how worse this is going to be, but you know, it is bad. It is terrible.
At midnight tonight, more than 40 million Americans will lose SNAP benefits used to pay for groceries.
This government shutdown has put our families and fellow Angelinos on the front lines of political games that they never asked to be a part of.
State and local leaders visiting Project Angel Food in Hollywood today, taking steps to protect recipients. And now 2 federal judges ruled to force the Trump administration to keep funding the program. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani stating Congress put money in an emergency fund, and it is hard for me to understand how this is not an emergency. We're not going to make everyone drop dead because it's a political game somewhere else. The Trump administration is expected to appeal the rulings, and that could delay food benefits for up to 2 weeks. President Trump on Truth Social saying, I do not want Americans to go hungry just because the radical Democrats refuse to do the right thing and reopen the government.
I'm more hopeful today than I was a week ago.
Some Democrats say the two sides could reach an agreement to end the shutdown soon, but hope is not enough for the millions who could go hungry. And there is a huge food distribution coming up tomorrow morning. It's at the Kia Forum. It's in Inglewood. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, goes to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
We need a violin
right now. Anybody can come by and get free food if they need it, but it will be drive-up only, no walk-ins. Again, Kia Forum in Inglewood starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We're live tonight in Hollywood. I'm Sandra Mitchell, KTLA 5 News, Micah and Cher. Back to you.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right, let's keep it moving.
The Trump administration is finding an 11th hour solution to make sure active duty service members get paid today. Unfortunately, many military families and veterans are preparing to turn to food banks when food stamps benefits run out tomorrow. Brooke Taylor is live for us in Dallas. So, Brooke, civilian families feeling it too. Our focus right now on where you are.
Hi, Harris. Well, first off, everyone loves payday, and thankfully military members woke up and they got paid today. But there is growing anxiety that that could stop soon. The Armed Services YMCA is seeing a massive surge right now as many troops brace for the possibility of not getting paid. Lines stretch outside of a food pantry we visited in Killeen, Texas, right near Fort Hood, with soldiers, their families, and young children waiting for those doors to open. The CEO of the national nonprofit says demand at these pantries has jumped 30 to 70% since the government shutdown started. The biggest uptick right now is happening in areas where there's a lot of these junior enlisted service members. Many of them live paycheck to paycheck.
Many folks are deployed right now overseas from Fort Hood and from other locations. And the last thing you want to have when you're deployed overseas is be worrying about the next paycheck and how do you take care of your family who are back wherever they live in the U.S.
The CEO says the majority of service members are motivated to serve their country and make a difference, not by money. In fact, many families are struggling already. Check this out. The starting base salary for an entry-level soldier is just over $25,000, and a 6-year staff sergeant makes less than $50,000, not including bonuses and other benefits. Well, the Trump administration tapped into different funding streams to make sure that all troops got paid today, but there is uncertainty about how long that's going to last, and Republicans are blaming Democrats.
I know that the Trump administration is desperately trying to figure out how we pay the men and women that are serving our country. Unfortunately, Chuck Schumer, this could be solved if he just would allow a number of his members to support opening the federal government. But he's so scared of primaries from the far left that he is willing to hold not just our service members, but the American people hostage.
And thousands of active service members also depend on food programs like SNAP that are set to run out tomorrow, Harris.
All right, Brooke, thank you very much. You have served. You know, I'm the child of a military officer, a combat pilot. We see things a certain way in this instance. They continue to serve no matter what, because that is their job, and they will not walk away from it.
Yeah, my father was career Army, went to Vietnam, and it was the proudest thing he did outside of his family. And you're right, they're going to serve. They enlist. They serve to protect us. And this is the part of this game that it's at some point you say, okay, in D.C., you know, it's gone too far, and I honestly believe that Democrats are just playing the blame game, just hoping that with the help of the media, the public will blame Republicans and Donald Trump. And I think that's unfortunate now that especially it widens out and starts to affect a lot of people beyond non-essential workers. It's ridiculous. It's unnecessary.
Well, look, one of the things, Rosanna, that viewers are coming up to me and asking about is this idea of if they can't talk to each other and everything is on the line, what does it look like when it's not? And this is a lot of watching the sausage making, and people don't need to see this much, they tell me.
You know, politics has really gone so crazy in D.C., and I keep thinking, if these legislators had their paycheck taken away during this period, would we have come to a resolution a lot quicker? Why can't we do that? I think that would make them come to the bargaining table and settle this a lot quicker. But, you know, I keep thinking about the people who are affected. You know, we send these men and women overseas to fight for our freedoms, and then they come back to an empty refrigerator. I mean, this is not about politics. This is about values. It's terrible what's going on.
I want to keep it there. When this came up at Sean Hannity's town hall last night, he looked at me and he looked at the audience and he said, we should all go out this weekend and help. You know, Table to Table is large in our state, but there are food pantries and banks across the country they're amazing organizations, and they can do so much. And any kind of way that we can help in this point, we grew up on military posts. We know we jump in, and I know Americans are awesome and that they will do what we can this weekend. But that's what this is about, Marie.
I mean, so let's talk about SNAP. I agree with you, actually, Harris. I think people should spend this weekend. Everyone's going to go trick-or-treating tonight, give out candy, like actually go help in your community. But on SNAP, the administration currently holds about $5.5 billion in the SNAP contingency fund that covers just about half of November's benefits. So it is clear that Republicans and Democrats are not going to agree on something in the next 24 to 48 hours. The Trump administration today could use those contingency funds, like have been used in the past, to make sure that people don't go hungry. They could do that today.
Yeah, and don't give it to the illegals.
When you realize how many
Give it
Americans
only to the
rely on it
Americans.
for their monthly,
And we'll have
weekly,
enough
monthly
for the
food
month.
bills,
42 million.
that is also incredibly depressing to me. That inflation is still too high, food is still too expensive. People are relying on this government program, which I think is a fantastic program, but the goal should be to continue growing the middle class, to get inflation down, so people don't rely on a government benefit. And that's
You
not
get a
happening
car,
right now.
you
So
get a
look,
car, you
Democrats
get a car, but we're not going to pay the taxes for it. But
anytime,
you can't leave
anyplace,
until you
they
pay the
will
taxes from the
negotiate
car.
with Trump and the White House and congressional Republicans to
Like,
reopen
what
the
the
government.
fuck,
The
Oprah?
Republicans just want the Democrats to cave. And
I remember that
That
episode. That
actually
shit was
isn't
crazy.
true. Chuck Schumer has voted to pass the bill, just like the one in front of him 13 times.
The Republicans are not negotiating with Democrats. They just want to force Democrats. And Democrats have said, you need our votes.
It's the other way
Talk
around.
to us.
It's
Talk
the
to
other way
us.
around.
Trump
And
refuses
look,
to talk
that
to them.
emergency money they could do, but you just said it runs out in November. We don't know how long this is going to go. This ties with the longest shutdown in history on Monday.
Let's make sure people are
Let's get
not
to Carly.
hungry now, and the Trump
Put
administration can do
troops,
that now.
Well, I think
veterans,
that's something that we could all agree on is that
seniors,
this issue of military pay
disabled,
is the single issue that should get Republicans and Democrats
and young
together
children to the top.
reopen the government. Not holiday travel, which is probably what it's going to be,
Illegals
but this
do not
specific
put any money
issue.
into their accounts.
Thankfully, the Pentagon was
All
able to shift some
whoever
funds around so
they
they'll
know
get
who's
this
the
paycheck
illegals.
now. But the fact that that was even a question.
It'll pop up. They'll
Yes.
know, and they'll
a
just don't
donor.
give
And
them the
it was
money.
a question
Only
mark
give the
when,
money to the
like you
Americans.
said, Rosanna, that Congress was getting paid is one of the
Right.
reasons why
That's what needs
the
to happen.
congressional approval rating is so low. I mean, they got to get together and figure this thing out now.
Is it reality that House members would not get paid this point? I mean, all the focus right now is on the senators. So that part of the chamber, yes. The other one, no. What is the reality of that?
I'm not 100% sure, but I do agree if they have skin in the game, not just stop them from getting paid, but stop them from trading the stock market with all the insider knowledge. All both sides. They're raking us on the clothes. They're all becoming millionaires, and that's why they don't give a damn.
Agreed.
Okay, well, let's stop there.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily
Wow.
Compagno.
Yeah,
Catch me
Emily
and my co-host
Compagno.
Harris Faulkner
What's
and
up, girl?
Kaylee McEnany on Out.
Okay, enough of that, Emily. We gotta keep it moving. All right, let's come over here.
Funding for SNAP benefits could expire today for more than 1 million veterans. A federal judge ordered emergency funds to pay for SNAP yesterday, with President Trump saying, quote, "I do not want Americans to go hungry just because the radical Democrats refuse to do the right thing and reopen the government. Therefore, I have instructed our lawyers to ask the court to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible." Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Jim Whaley is CEO of the Veterans Advocacy Group.
Only
Mission
give
Roll
the money
Call.
to the
He
Americans.
joins us now.
Don't
Lieutenant
give
Colonel,
it to
thank
the
you for joining us this
illegals.
morning.
I'm
So
sorry.
what are you
If you
seeing
just give
on
the
the
money
ground
out and
there
give it to
in
everybody,
terms
the illegals are going to get the
these
money.
benefits
Like,
and
what's the
notion
point?
that
We're
they
trying to
will
stop
run out
them,
today?
not give them.
Well, Charlie, first of all, thank you and good morning. We've polled our veterans across the country, and over 60% of our veterans are affected by the shutdown. And out of that, 93% are very concerned or concerned about the shutdown. So it does have impact. And when you put it against the backdrop of any given night, we have 30,000+ veterans homeless, and we have 17 to 22 veterans taking their suicide, having suicide every day. That's significant numbers.
Yeah, indeed. In terms of the food benefits, have you seen an uptick, or are, Americans are the most generous people on the planet. Have you seen evidence that private donations have been coming into organizations like yours to help in that realm?
Absolutely. You hit it. Americans are the most generous people on this planet, and they're very concerned about their veterans. They honor their veterans. They hold them in high regard. So we know that all the other veteran support organizations that are across the country are getting involved. They're working together, and they're trying to solve this as best they can. And they're working with their donors to see what else they can do.
And obviously, I would think that you probably have a lot of contacts with the federal government in terms of doing what you all do. Do you hear from them about what they expect to happen in the next coming days and weeks?
Well, I'll tell you, I applaud the Veterans Administration and Secretary Collins. He reaches out, his staff reaches out to us to get polling data so that they know what veterans are thinking. So when they make decisions, they have the veteran in mind. And we share our polling data with Congress and with Senate so that they can make good decisions. You know, we're an organization that amplifies the voice of veterans and shares that information with good folks like yourself, but also with decision makers at every level.
Do you have a sense from your members about who they hold responsible for the shutdown?
No, you know, we try to stay apolitical as
Right.
possible and make sure that we ask those questions in a way that everybody feels invited to it, because veterans make up the fabric of our country, so they come from every walk of life. So we try to steer clear of that, but we still have data that shows that veterans are very concerned about this. And Charlie, here's another point. We have 18 million veterans in our country. And when you factor in the average size of the family, that's about 50 million veterans and family members. That's a
Right.
sizable voting bloc. They're going to remember this.
Yeah, indeed. Lieutenant Colonel Jim Whaley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
You
And
know, the
click here
military,
to
they
subscribe to
need
the
to be taken care of. It shouldn't be tied into all these shutdowns and bullshit. They shouldn't be affected. It's just ridiculous. Here's another story. Let's get this story up and running.
On the government shutdown, many around the country are counting down to the end of SNAP benefits. The nation's largest food aid program will end tomorrow, affecting tens of millions of Americans.
2 federal judges ordering the Trump administration to use emergency funds to support it. Our Ross Ketchke is live in Washington. And Ross, it looks like there are a lot of details that need to be worked out in this.
Good evening, guys. That's absolutely correct. Those 2 federal judges now giving the Trump administration until Monday to come up with a plan to use those emergency funds to support SNAP benefits. But members of Congress tonight are warning this is at best a temporary solution.
Wow.
The issue remains.
It's only temporary. That's the
simply
thing.
abandoned.
Yeah, use Washington's it. funding fight putting SNAP
So
in the
we get
spotlight,
screwed.
with 2 federal judges now ruling
We
the Trump
lose the
administration must
emergency
tap
money,
into emergency accounts to
and-
pay for the
and
food
then
assistance program.
What happens
Most
if
of
they
these
don't
folks are
open the
making
government?
less than $1,100 a month. So
Then-
it's incredibly
then
difficult. It's our
who's to blame
veterans.
then?
It's people with disabilities.
Oh, blame the
Nationwide, it's around
Republicans, blame
42
Trump
million
more,
Americans who rely on the
blame.
program. The USDA warning that money had run dry as the shutdown hits the 1-month mark.
Hey,
More than
Chloe.
2 dozen
How you
states
doing?
taking the Trump
Yeah, it was pretty
administration to
good.
court,
Had a
trying
good
to
Halloween.
force them to use
I was
emergency
here at
funds,
home.
something the government argued could only be done in cases like natural disasters.
When there's a lapse in funding, these funds must be spent to ensure that seniors, children, and veterans don't go hungry across this country.
It's unclear exactly when the benefits could be sent out, with the judges giving the government until Monday to come up with a plan. Meanwhile, the USDA says there's not enough emergency money on hand to cover the full month of benefits.
How was your
$5
Halloween,
billion is
Chloe?
not going to cover $8 billion in necessary costs. That's what you need to cover the benefits for the 42 million Americans.
All they have to do is say the government
On
Americans, 42
board Air
million.
Force One,
I hope-
President Trump continuing to blame blame the the shutdown on
illegals
Democrats in
that,
the Senate, who continue to push back
42
against the
million.
Republican bill that would
They
provide
better
short-term funding for
make
government
sure.
programs.
I'm president. I want to help everybody. I want to help Democrats and Republicans. But when you're talking about SNAP, if you look, it's largely Democrats. They're hurting their own people.
And in just the last hour or so, President Trump saying that his administration will be going back to the courts to ask for more guidance on exactly how they can legally use these emergency funds to help prop up SNAP for the next few weeks. But the president also warned there will be a delay in getting those benefits out to the tens of millions of Americans who rely on them, because they need to get this guidance
Lord.
first, and then has to be
That's
implemented.
cool.
Then that funding has to be sent out to all 50 states to then be sent out to the individuals who are
Gothic
counting on those
dress, a lot.
payments. Live in Washington, Ross
Hopefully
Ketchke,
you took
Local
pictures.
10 News.
Hopefully you took pictures that last longer. Since listen, we're so spoiled here in America, right? Everyone's freaking out. Oh my god, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get food? There's no food. There's plenty of food in the supermarket. You just gotta use your own funds to get it. And if you don't have the funds, then you have to find means of getting food. There's a lot of food pantries. There's a lot of churches that are helping. Like, go dial 211 and they'll tell you your nearest distribution center and so forth. Like, these people, they're over exaggerating because they want all their junk food. They want their chips, they want their donuts, they want their cookies. Oh my god, I cannot go a day without my Breyers ice cream. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's disgusting, man. That's why these kids are so fucking fat. It's like they eat all this junk shit, and then like it's all paid for by the taxpayers. Oh, and then there you go, you have the little snap, and all these little snappy fat kids everywhere. Lord, help me. But we're so out of place, because like there's plenty of food. There's food. There's always gonna be food. Like, why the government is making this crazy, especially the Democrats. Why are they making this into a situation that should be a non-situation? This is not even that serious. What is so serious about Obamacare insurance? What is so important about it? Oh, because the money goes into your pockets. Okay, Democrats, I understand. And you're mad because you're not going to be getting that money into your pockets. So then you're going to hold the whole country hostage and not pay the programs that needs like help as far as like SNAP and assistance and all for Americans. But you guys want to continue helping your people, the illegals, the ones that vote for you, the ones that go and stand on the line and vote for you and get you into your positions of power, right? Those are the people you want to support. You want to give them the housing, the food stamps, the cash assistance, free clothes, free car. Here's a free car. Like, are you kidding me? The fucking illegals are driving better cars than I do. How that hell happened? How the fuck that happens? Train of Truth is here and it's blowing its horn like crazy. But I just don't get it, man. This just it's disturbing. It is disturbing. Like, you got illegals fucking voting in our elections. Like, I look, I'll show you a story. I show you a story. Give me 1 second. I gotta make sure I got everything here put right. All right, let's go ahead and close this out. All right. Here we go. Okay. So here we go. Illegals voting in our elections.
Federal judge ruled yesterday that President Trump's request to add a documentary proof of citizenship requirement to the federal voter registration form cannot be enforced. U.S. District Judge Colleen Kohler-Cotelli in Washington, D.C. sided with Democratic and civil rights groups that sued the Trump administration over his executive order he issued back in March that included requiring documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections and that all ballots be received by Election Day. She ruled that the proof of citizenship directive is an unconstitutional violation of the separation of powers, as the administration has argued that such a mandate is necessary to restore public confidence that only Americans are voting in U.S.
I'm happy you had a great time dressing up, Chloe. That sounds like fun.
Setting qualifications for voting and regulating federal election
They
procedures.
want
Quote,
Trump
the
to take the
Constitution
funds from
assigns no
FEMA
direct role to
after
the
FEMA
president in either
clearly
domain. Kohler-Cotelli
said
echoed
they
comments she
broke and
made
funding
when she granted a
illegals and
preliminary
screwing
injunction over
over
the
hurricane
issue.
victims.
The ruling
Yep,
grants the plaintiffs
especially the ones in North
partial summary
Carolina.
judgment that prohibits the proof of citizenship requirement from going into effect. It says the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, which has been considering adding the requirement to the federal voter form, is permanently barred from taking action to do so. Now, we did hear from the White House on all of this. They disagreed with the judge's ruling in a statement late yesterday, and we do have a quote here from Abigail Jackson, a White House spokesperson, saying, quote, President Trump has exercised his lawful authority to ensure only American citizens are casting ballots in American elections.
Yeah, I was
that only the Democrat Party
you gotta
will
watch
file a
yesterday's
lawsuit
show,
against
but
it. We expect to be
I was
vindicated by a higher court. The U.S. House
Invisible
passed a
King
citizenship mandate last spring
yesterday.
that has stalled in the Senate,
I was the
and
Invisible
several
King.
attempts to pass similar legislation in the
I was
states
really
have
mad
proved
about
equally
the No
difficult.
Kings protests.
The lawsuit brought by the DNC and various civil rights groups will continue to play out to allow the judge to consider other challenges to Trump's order. That includes a requirement that all mail ballots be received rather than just postmarked by Election Day. Other lawsuits against President Trump's election executive order are still ongoing. In early April, 19 Democratic state attorneys general asked a separate federal court to reject Trump's executive order. Washington and Oregon, where virtually all voting is done with mail ballots, followed with their own lawsuit against the order.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird one. I'm telling you, we're gonna go through some weird times. It's not gonna get any better. It's gonna get a lot worse than before it gets better. These Democrats, they're trying to play this strategy, right? And trying to pit, no matter what, it's all Republicans' fault. Don't worry about it. If you just had a bad day, blame the Republicans. If you tripped and you stepped on shit and you landed on shit, blame Trump. You know, it's just everything. It's always a blame. The blame game. That's what Washington loves to play. Is the blame game. But do they really care about the people? We're witnessing this live. Like, if they really cared about the people, they would have already had this already taken care of. They don't care about the people. They don't care about you guys. Your vote means shit. It means shit because like they're in Washington, and guess what? They're not doing nothing for the people. They're only doing it for themselves. They only care about themselves, and they're illegals. You know, they brought them in and they want to take care of them on the taxpayer dime. No, enough is enough. Enough is enough. There's so many other people in this world that is suffering. And the fact that we continue to talk about the Americans, oh my God, they're going to starve to death. Okay, you want me to show you something that's a little bit more serious? Let's go. Let's watch this.
Jamaicans are picking up the pieces days after Hurricane Melissa made landfall as a powerful Category 5 across the Caribbean. The storm is blamed for at least 28 deaths. That number is expected to rise.
Jamaica's prime minister says that the winds tore the roofs off of about 90% of the homes in the town of Black River, calling it ground zero. Schools have been destroyed and homes and businesses turned into rubble. The island's international airports are resuming operations, allowing relief organizations to fly in supplies. Residents in eastern Cuba and also in Haiti are facing some massive recovery efforts as well. Piece of good news is Melissa's no longer a tropical system. Just this monster area low pressure just past Newfoundland. It's going to go between Iceland and the United Kingdom over the next couple days. But I want to kind of recap Melissa. So it was tied for the third strongest Atlantic hurricane. It was the latest Category 5 on record in the Atlantic. It was the strongest ever to hit Jamaica, and it was tied for the lowest atmospheric pressure and winds at landfall. And this is the track as it went through over the past week. And it made that first landfall in Jamaica on October 28th at 1 p.m. with wind gusts near 200 miles an hour. They made that second landfall in eastern Cuba as a Category 3 with winds of 120.
Gusts of nearly 200 miles an hour.
Yes.
Hard to comprehend.
Well, Category 5 starts at 157 miles an hour, and after that, everything's Category 5. So it had sustained winds of 185 with gusts of 200.
And this just fueled it with all that warm water.
Yeah, because it actually went from a tropical storm into a Category 5 hurricane in very short order.
That is wild. Okay, those are a lot of people suffering. We're going to watch a little bit more people suffering in Jamaica. Black River. All these good power lines. Look at the green. And I think this is the government coming in. They made their way to Black River. They need to go make their way to White House. Because White House got fucked up in Jamaica. But a lot of people are dead in Black River, and it's not good.
Want some money? Me no live nowhere. Hunger kill me. All of me house blow down. Every picnic no have no clothes, we no have no water, we no have no food. And you all this, we no live nowhere. We hungry, we are starved. We want some money. Where you from? We want some money, no money we don't have. We don't have nothing.
Look at this. They need help. They need food. They need water. Is this the same situation that we're having in America? Can you compare this situation? This is a true natural disaster. A true natural disaster. You know what? That $6 billion that we have for emergencies, why don't we just send that money to Jamaica? Send it to Western Jamaica. They need the resources. They need the food. They need to rebuild. They need to get their lives back in order. And that would be the most generous thing we could do for Jamaica. More generous than Kamala Harris not even speaking about this fucking hurricane making landfall in her country.
In here, but so slowly.
Where's Kamala Harris?
They need so much
Where's
help
the
right now, and we're
where's the
just
golden
not
child
seeing it
at?
fast
Where's
enough.
Kamala?
And all you have to do
How
is
come
look
she
at
has
these
not
visuals.
spoken not once
That
about
is a
this?
concrete power pole that was lifted out
Like,
of the
come on,
ground
man.
outside. You see this church completely destroyed right here. My goodness, this is a brick structure. There is no roof.
Look at this. Gone. Gone. That was the church. Gone. I hope people weren't like trying to survive in that church. Because guess what? They're not alive. I would send the $6 billion to Western Jamaica. The Americans, look, this is what suffering is. This is what's called desperation. This is what you see. You have no food, no water, no house, no nothing. Everything is destroyed. And yet we're here complaining and bitching because you didn't get your food stamps? Are you kidding me? Nah, help Jamaica, man. Send the $6 billion over there. They truly need it. They need to rebuild. That money could easily come back to us down the line from Jamaica, you know, because it would be kind of like a let them borrow the money type of deal. And we don't need to send $6 billion over there. $1 billion. It's good to get them going, you know. It's like we need to help. This is a true emergency, and this is a country we can help. And the $1 billion we could send over there could definitely give them hope. This is going to be a lot of people are going to die. Desperation is gonna wreak havoc. Is the United States going through something like this right now? I mean, we did with Helene that destroyed North Carolina, and the fact Biden didn't even fucking send or did anything for them out there, stating, "Oh, FEMA doesn't have money," or if you see any Trump propaganda in anybody's yard, then skip that house and go to the next. Like, are you kidding me? This is a true disaster, man. A humanitarian disaster in Jamaica. This is really bad.
Fox News.
Oh my God. This is gonna get so bad. And what I say is like, where's the United Nations? Right? Where's NATO? Why NATO is not there? Why NATO has not deployed any troops or any resources to help Jamaica? Oh, crickets. Crickets. That's all we hear is crickets. You know? And the US is sending help. They're sending doctors, they're sending search and rescue teams, dogs. They're doing as much as they can to send flights over there to help the to help the Jamaican people, you know? And my biggest problem is, where's Kamala Harris? She is Jamaican. Her roots she don't care about her roots. She's not gonna make a statement about her people of Jamaica. Horrible. Just horrible. This country, that's why I say, listen, I'm rooting for the asteroid to hit the world. Because the world, a lot of people there's a lot of good people, you know, and that's fine. But we don't deserve to live here. We don't deserve to be here. It's just a shame. And what's more important, Jamaica, you just saw like a video right now with a lot of people suffering. A lot of people have no money. A lot of people have no food, no water, no survival because everything got washed away. Everything just like got destroyed. You know, no electricity, food is already spoiled. There's nothing. They don't got nothing. And they need like soup kitchens. They need, you know, they need these trailers to make food and just keep pumping out help to Western Jamaica, right? But what's more important, Western Jamaica or, you know, I don't know. Let's see this next video. Maybe these people are more important than the Western Jamaica. Let's see.
SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans have been cut off. A federal judge is ordering the Trump administration to use emergency funds to restore the program. The program, which helps low-income Americans afford groceries, is running out of money as a result of the government shutdown.
Listen to me, in Washington, D.C., do not take away from us, please.
A Rhode Island judge saying without the SNAP federal food program, some 42 million of the country's most vulnerable would face irreparable harm and terror over the availability of funding for food for their family. President Trump saying he's instructing the government lawyers to ask the judge how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible, saying if the court gives direction, it will be my honor to provide the funding. The Trump administration is expected to appeal.
Anything with government or state or anything above my head that I don't have eyes on directly, believe it when you see it.
Jenna Jackson, a mother of 4 who runs a tree farm in Oklahoma, says without medicated SNAP, she would have to make tough choices.
My dog is sick, but I have to eat. So the dog is ultimately going to have to suffer, or the kids are going to have to wear shoes that are too small for an extra month because we have to buy dinner.
President Trump calling on GOP lawmakers to end the filibuster, writing on social media, it is now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card.
Food is a basic human right.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
However
do
you align
that,
yourself,
though, because that gives leverage to the
people still
Democrats in the future.
Starting November 1st, cards will still work for those with remaining balances, but without new funding, they won't be reloaded. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
That's fucking crazy. All right, let's keep it moving.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, we talk about a sign of the times. Administration officials increasingly are facing so many very serious and violent threats that they find that the only option they have is to actually move their families and themselves onto military bases. Here's the list of some of the notable acts of political motivated violence. Of course, you had June 2022, the plot that was thwarted against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. You had the Paul Pelosi was attacked in October of 2022. Obviously, you have the assassination attempts on President Trump, both of them. You have the arson at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home.
Yeah, and you have, of course, the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I think the Charlie Kirk assassination was such a shock to, especially to anybody who is in public life, that you could go with security to a university and simply have open debate, and you get shot in such a horrific way in front of college students. I'm still not over it. I'm just surprised how in the liberal media it's just kind of gone away. Here, a lot of conservatives, and of course at Fox News, we have not forgotten. We will not forget. But it has just gone off the pages like, oh, just another day. But the people who are not forgetting, especially, are those in the public eye. And so one of them is Stephen Miller. This is The Atlantic saying Stephen Miller joined a growing list of senior Trump administration and political appointees, at least 6 by our count, living in Washington area military housing, where they are shielded not just from potential violence, but also from protests. It is an ominous marker of the nation's polarization, to which the Trump administration has itself contributed. I don't know where they got that from, that some of those top public servants have felt a need to separate themselves from the public. These civilian officials can now depend on the U.S. military to augment their personal security. But so many have made the move that they are now straining the availability of housing for the nation's top uniformed officers. So The Atlantic really worried about housing for officers. They don't seem to care about the fact that military aren't getting paid during the shutdown, but okay.
So it's good on The Atlantic for pointing this out, but they do miss the point, Rachel. I mean, look, I cannot remember a time in my adult life that the threat of political violence was higher. And that is very sobering. And to see, we've had in the past some defense secretaries, Bob Gates, Jim Mattis, live on military bases. That's not unusual. But now with people like Stephen Miller moving into the military because of threats on his life, it is akin to, in 2023, the mayor of Tijuana had to move on to a Mexican military base because the cartel was openly saying, we are going to kill you. These are the threats that Stephen Miller and Katie Miller and their children are getting. And it's really a moment that seems unprecedented in terms of the political violence in our country.
I think the kid part is a really important point. I mean, I know Jen Hegseth and Pete Hegseth made that move onto the base. Kind of made sense. They're part of the military, but also the kind of freedom their kids can have from harassment and the safety they need now because of this very violent environment we're in.
Yeah, indeed. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click
All
here
right,
to
let's
subscribe
keep
to
it
the
moving. The safety of these individuals, it's very important. They can't just be in the general public because of the threats that are placed upon their lives. And they got very important jobs to do for us, the people. It sucks that they got to live on a military base, but I'm pretty sure they're living very comfortably. So safety first. These Democrats, they don't believe in safety. The only safety they believe in is themselves and their own propaganda that they believe in. It's fucking crazy. Let's keep it moving.
To move to this because the government is shut down, and this shutdown is hitting the second month. We see no end in sight.
As a result, airports across the U.S. are facing major problems, and SNAP benefits could expire today for millions. Rebecca Castor is live in Washington, kicking things off for us. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Griff. In final hour of decisions yesterday, 2 federal judges ruled SNAP benefits must continue during the shutdown.
Thanks, Terry.
The
have a
Trump
great day at
administration
work.
isn't sure how they can legally do
Appreciate
so
you
and
stopping
want the
by.
courts to clarify.
There is a contingency fund at USDA, but that contingency fund, by the way, doesn't even cover, I think, half of the $9.2 billion that would be required for November SNAP, but it is only allowed to flow if the underlying program is funded. It's called a contingency fund, and by law, contingency fund can only flow when the underlying fund is flowing.
President Trump says he doesn't want the 42 million people who rely on this program to go hungry, and the easiest solution is for Democrats to immediately reopen the government.
The Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them. They've never done a thing like this. They've become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say, let's go, let's open up our country. and everything snaps back into shape.
Mr. President, are you going to meet with Democratic leadership?
I'm always going to meet. All they have to do is open up the country. The Republicans are very unified, they're very strong, and they want to do what's right for the country.
The shutdown is also leading to problems in the air. There was a close call yesterday at Boston's Logan Airport between a landing plane and another clearing for takeoff.
Oh
in
my
LaGuardia
God.
In New York, two planes collided on the tarmac. The FAA said last night half of its core 30 facilities are experiencing staffing shortages, and nearly 80% of air traffic controllers are absent at New York area facilities. Now, taking a look at the misery map, there are already over 500 delays and more than 100 canceled flights in the U.S. this morning. A stressful day ahead for travelers, and the holiday travel rush is just around the corner, guys.
Nightmare is around the corner.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks.
Yeah, will be really interesting to see what the political dynamics, whether they change as people start to feel the pinch. And not only obviously we've all been sort of dealing with it for the past month with travel and things like that. But when you start looking at things like food stamps drying up, it's going to get very interesting in terms of the political pressure people start to feel.
Yeah, especially as you get towards the holidays, right? How long can they keep this up? They're going to take away the SNAP benefits for poor people, on Thanksgiving. That is a bad look. By the way, we already know that a lot of these food banks are under pressure they've never seen before. So that is not going to be able to make up the difference. We also know that SNAP benefits have skyrocketed since Joe Biden was in office.
They went from like 60 billion to 120 billion. But look, this is real pain. 1 in 8 Americans depend on these food stamps, or SNAP program as it's now called. We can show you some of the numbers. 42 million Americans we're talking about. 73% SNAP households at or below poverty level. 79% SNAP households include children, senior citizens, or disabled members. It averages to about $332 per household benefit. But let's be clear about this. The Democrats owned this shutdown. Even CNN came out and said it in their data. And at the end of the day, this is about 15 times now, Democrats, they can't find 5 Democrat senators to vote for the Biden CR. These are the continuing resolution funding under Biden levels for these increased SNAP benefits and everything else that the government funds. And at the end of the day, you wonder, as this pain gets worse, will Democrats finally say, look, the country thinks we own it. We need to open things back up and get an agreement.
And of course, President Trump is now talking about trying to break the filibuster. And the thing that I think is really interesting about this, because obviously this has been a fight in Washington for a long time, even if they don't break the filibuster, change the filibuster rules, the fact that Donald Trump is talking about it being a filibuster is a reminder that, as you point out, Griff, bipartisan majorities in both chambers of Congress have passed that legislation. It is a Democrat minority in the Senate that are holding up the spending. Democrats are filibustering food stamps right now for poor people and payment to federal workers, including FAA workers. This is a Democrat filibuster, and people forget about it because there isn't somebody on the House floor or on the Senate floor sitting there haranguing 24/7. But this is what a filibuster is, and the fact that President Trump has put his finger on that is highlights the fact that that is what this is, and it is 100% Democrats doing.
And the president and his cabinet, I think, have done a good job of saying, call Chuck Schumer. Remember the meme of, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries with the sombreros on, saying, hey, they're holding this up for illegal immigration, payments for health care. So there's been some very good messaging that I think has broken through sort of usually the media is on the side of the Democrats, enabling them.
Usually?
Almost always. But in this case, the president and his cabinet, I think, have been using social media very effectively to remind everybody of who is actually behind this. And of course, people experiencing it for themselves when they go to the airport. And in this case, also SNAP benefits.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
I saw this thing here. I want to bring it up real quick. Let me bring the show back to me. And I think it's important for us to watch. But let's go ahead and first take a look at this Delta flight, and then I'm gonna set up the other video for us to watch because I think it's important. It's a short, so but here, let's check this story out, and then I'll bring up the next one.
We begin tonight here with an alarming close call at Boston's Logan Airport. 2 passenger jets, one with more than 300 people on board, just 125 feet from landing on the runway when another plane passes in front. It was a Delta flight from Paris on approach to Boston just moments from landing when another plane taking off crossed its path on an intersecting runway. Air traffic controllers jumping in to get the Delta plane to go around again. And this comes as the FAA tonight acknowledging critical staff shortages amid this government shutdown. Air traffic controllers not getting paid, many calling in sick. ABC's Matt Rivers leading us off tonight.
Tonight, the alarming close call for 2 passenger planes at Boston's Logan Airport. Listen to the moment 2 pilots realized they were on a possible collision course.
Oh my God.
What the heck? That was close. Yeah, man, not cool.
A Delta flight from Paris with nearly 300 people on board coming in for landing yesterday, just 125 feet off the runway, about to touch down, just as a Cape Air flight was speeding down an intersecting runway taking off.
Oh my God.
Radar 24. Suddenly, air traffic control noticed something was wrong.
Delta 263, have you go around and turn 10 degrees left.
For Delta 263.
That Delta flight aborting its landing, climbing back into the air. The
Wow.
controller ordering that Cape Air flight to stay low.
Care, go low.
Going low.
Both planes coming within 3,800 feet of each other.
In this case,
Oh
it
my
looks like
God.
a controller error, but it was also a good save by the controller when they realized the mistake had been made and made the Delta jet go around.
And tonight, dramatic new video showing the damage inside the cabin of a JetBlue flight to Newark that suddenly lost altitude while flying from Cancun. Video showing cracks where people hit the ceiling.
Holy
Shelley
shit.
Walsh says everyone in the aisle went flying.
It was such a
my
violent,
God.
sudden drop. The flight attendant went completely horizontal, hit the ceiling, flew back down to the ground.
That flight
Oh
making an
my
emergency
God.
landing in Tampa, several passengers and crew rushed to the hospital. No word yet what caused that drop in altitude. And as the country deals with the government shutdown, major flight disruptions nationwide due to critical air traffic control staffing issues and bad weather. Some 32 air traffic control facilities reporting shortages, and the list is growing. One FAA source telling ABC News it's the worst she's ever seen. I'm also one of the millions affected by the shutdown's impact on air travel. After 4 canceled flights and hours of delays, it took me a full extra day to get from Chicago here to Newark. In Orlando yesterday, the busiest airport in Florida, the FAA saying there were no controllers to land planes for a time before staffing was finally increased. And David, there are thousands of flight delays and cancellations tonight, and that number only getting worse by the hour. And with no end in sight to this government shutdown, this chaos could likely last at least through next week. David?
Matt Rivers leading us off here on a Friday night. Matt, thank you.
Ooh, that is crazy. You know, that the most important people are the ones that are controlling the air, right? Like the people in the towers. I'm surprised that they're part of this shutdown stuff. They should still be getting paid, just like how hospitals are still getting paid, how certain like agencies are still getting paid, how Congress and the Senate, all these people in Washington are getting paid. Like, I think those tower agents and TSA agents should be getting paid, and the military should be getting paid. And I don't even understand why the fucking government is still fucking closed. It's fucking Democrats, man. Like, they didn't wake the fuck up. Like, no joke. It's just straight bullshit right now. But I wanted to see this one here. I wanted to share with you guys. It might look a little, and that's fucking Benny Johnson. Benny, but I wanted to see the short.
Kamala Harris is wine drunk at all times during the middle of the day. She's unemployed. She's childless. She's in her 60s. Nobody likes her. She lost in a landslide to Donald Trump. You should think about voting for her because she now swears. Yes, Kamala Harris now says naughty words. She says the F word, like that she has f***ing energy right now.
Right. Like, am I just like, f*** it?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ask the question with pretense.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Are you just like, fuck it, no, it doesn't matter? Because the book had fuck it energy.
Yeah, I think there is that energy in the book.
Wow, how stunning and brave. Kamala Harris also said that she doesn't care about Trump's really big hammer. Because, F that guy.
Are you f***ing kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now? Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, does the guy have a big f***ing hammer? What about those babies?
Got it. Okay, well, that would be the first time that Kamala Harris didn't care about someone's big hammer based on all that we know about Kamala Harris and how she got ahead in her career. That's all she cared about. But hey, you know what? Good luck in 2020. Ignore the
fucking crazy, man. She's a fucking nut. Like, Kamala Harris is a fucking nut. Let's keep moving on, because I don't want to pollute our brains with stupidity.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has reportedly begun legal proceedings to revoke the citizenship of nearly 24 dissidents, including Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado. This comes after Maduro said that the U.S. is starting a, quote, new eternal war with Venezuela.
Pueblo de los Estados Unidos lo sabe. Se están inventando una nueva guerra eterna. Prometieron que más nunca se metían en una guerra. Y se están inventando una guerra que nosotros vamos a evitar. ¿Con qué? Con la movilización de los pueblos de América del Sur.
One of the citizens at risk of losing his Venezuelan citizenship is Manhattan Institute fellow Daniel DiMartino, and he joins us now. Hello. So tell us what this means to you. You're on a very short list of 20 people who say they're not, he's going to take away your citizenship. What's the message?
Well, the message is that if you oppose the regime outwardly in the media, then they will try to take away everything from you, right? Including a citizenship that you were born with, right? Because all of the people on this list were born in Venezuela. That's important to know. And, even if it's illegal, like, what are they going to do to us? I think this just shows desperation. The regime is just grasping for straws, trying to get attention, and they're not able to do anything to us yet.
And with the increased military presence and the uptick in propaganda from him, he obviously knows that Americans are sensitive to the idea of forever wars. We hate them. So he's invoking that. He's invoking imperialism, colonialism. From your understanding, because you have a lot of contacts inside the country, has that done anything to move public opinion among everyday Venezuelan citizens?
Not at all. I think that this is a big misconception in the American debate, that supposedly these kinds of narratives help the regime gain popularity. The regime has no popularity at all. Nobody believes it. Everybody's very happy with what President Trump is doing. They want the bombings to continue of the boats. Nobody believes these are fishermen. And so that is important for Americans to understand.
Yeah, I've actually been surprised at the regional support for these strikes and for getting rid of Nicolas Maduro. Apparently, a lot of other countries surrounding. Go ahead.
Even the presidential candidate in Colombia from the conservative side, Vicky Davila, came out yesterday saying that she supports what Trump is doing and she wants Maduro to go.
We've interviewed every single presidential candidate except Petro and at Fox Noticias, and every single one of them has shown support for President Trump's war on the cartels and on Nicolas Maduro. Let's move to this, because yesterday Trump said he is not considering strikes inside of Venezuela. Listen.
There are reports that you are considering strikes within Venezuela. Is that true?
No.
You made a decision on that?
No, it's not true.
What do you make of that? Do you wish he would? And what do you make of that statement?
Well, the only reason we're even talking about this is because President Trump is the one who brought up land strikes originally over, a few weeks ago. And I actually think that it was because the media leaked the story that they were going to strike this weekend that President Trump kind of had to say, no, we're not going to do it, because it took the element of surprise away.
a lot of people thought that with this kind of pressure, I mean, there is an armada off the coast of Venezuela. There is increasing pressure. He's not getting the money he used to get. The sanctions are working. A lot of people thought he'd be gone by now, that he would leave. So what's your message to our viewers, to the American people, about how this is working?
Yeah, people need to understand that Maduro is never going to go unless he's afraid for his own life, and the people around him are too. And the moment they actually are afraid for their own life, they will take the next flight to Russia. That's what will happen. But it's not going to happen just because there is a threat that they think that we're not going to go through. They think that President Trump is lying about it. And we need to tell them that actually, no, President Trump is for real. They need to understand that this is actually going to happen to them.
Yeah. Daniel DiMartino, thank you for joining us. And congratulations on making it onto Maduro's list.
Thank you.
Wear it as a badge of honor.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
All right. Well, I had that on mute, so here we go. I'm gonna go to the next story. Venezuela, that's a mess. This whole world is a mess right now. Let's check out this weird story. Something about some Clean Air Act. I don't know. Let's see what it is about.
Now to a story you will see only on Fox News at night. A 65-year-old diesel mechanic trying to help professional drivers whose vehicles kept breaking down, sentenced to 1 year in a federal prison for violating Biden EPA rules. Jeff Paul live with the fascinating story. Jeff, good evening again.
Yeah, good evening, Trace. Troy Lake thought he was doing what was right and keeping our most important drivers in school buses, ambulances, and big rigs back on the road. Instead, he's now a felon and pleading with President Trump to get his rights back. When it comes to anything diesel, Troy Lake knows how to fix it, especially newer EPA-mandated emission systems that seem to be sidelining drivers.
We'd get 200 calls a day. My truck's broke.
From commercial big rigs to school buses and fire trucks, Troy says everyone was breaking down.
The biggest thing I was hearing is the devices or their truck broke down and not able to deliver products or not able to get to a fire.
Troy found a workaround.
This is the EGR system. This is one of the things we were turning off.
He tapped into the engine's computer, disabling some of the federally mandated emission systems.
I didn't want to be Robin Hood. I just felt that it was wrong as far as what the government was doing to
That's
American people
crazy.
that wanted to work.
Now he's going to jail for a year?
They raided Troy's shop in 2018. But 6 years later, under the Biden administration, he was charged and pled guilty to conspiracy to violate the Clean Air Act. Now,
What?
in house arrest, Troy spent 7 months in federal prison.
It's a experience I wouldn't want anybody to go through.
Troy's case is
Wow.
now the driving force behind a new law one senator is accelerating to make sure the road ahead is much smoother for both drivers.
These fucking
and
Democrats, man.
It's so absurd, it doesn't even seem like America.
Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis introduced the Diesel Truck Liberation Act.
We want clean air, clean water. We want our land to be beautiful. This notion that this is a binary choice, the environment or humans, is wrong. We can have both.
It not only prevents the EPA from prosecuting Clean Air Act violators, but calls for freeing folks like Troy.
I want my life back. My wife and I, we need our life back.
Now, when we contacted the EPA about Troy's case, they referred us to the White House. Senator Lummis, who you just heard from there, has sent a pardon request to the White House, which is aware and now reviewing, and a decision, Trace, is obviously ultimately up to President Trump.
President gets wind of this, and I think he's going to say, yep, done. Jeff, thank you. But
hey, Sean Hannity.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna pardon him. He'll pardon him. He's like, damn, he found a way to bypass that bullshit, and you make these vehicles run perfectly. Like, you're a fucking genius. We got to protect our genius, not punish them. Fucking Biden administration, man. I can't. I'm telling you, I'm living in a universe right now that I know I died and came back, and I'm going through all the stupidity of what's the world has been going through. Like, I already died, and it's like I'm here from the afterlife. You know, it came back, and I'm like, this is all this bullshit I gotta witness and see that I would have missed out on. It's crazy, man. Let's go over to Trump here and let's watch a little bit of Fox News.
Now this, an echo of the Cold War. President Trump tells the Pentagon to resume testing nuclear weapons for the first time in decades. Vice President J.D. Vance calls the move essential in maintaining the atomic arsenal.
We have a big arsenal, obviously. The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly. But it's an important part of American national security to make sure that this nuclear arsenal we have actually functions properly. And that's part of a testing regime. To be clear, we know that it does work properly, but you got to keep on top of it over time. And the president just wants to make sure that we do that.
Joining us now is Brent Sadler, a former nuclear submariner, now senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Brent, I want to get your thoughts on this. How likely is it that we see this happening? And if we do, in what manner? I mean, is it going to be soon? Is it going to be underground? Where could it be? Give us sort of the gist of things.
Yes, I mean, this has been in the works for several years. The fact that the president chose to announce and to really publicly commit to this just before he met with President Xi Jinping is certainly not something to be missed for the strategic and the messaging significance of that. But you could start seeing testing, scaled underground testing in the very near future. Whether or not we're prepared is another question, but we definitely need to do this. It's long overdue. Nuclear weapons do go bad, kind of like bread, but we do need to test how the fundamentals are changing over time. You do that with digital kind of simulations, but those are only so good based on years-old data. So the testing is critical to continue to have high confidence in the viability of our nuclear deterrence that we rely on.
Did this come as a surprise to you? Because the president seemed to indicate just a few weeks ago that potentially he was pursuing a denuclearization track. I want to play you what he said recently.
One of the things I discussed with President Putin the other day, it wasn't just that, it was also other things. And I think the denuclearization is it's a big aim, but Russia's willing to do it, and I think China's going to be willing to do it.
So that was August 25th. What changed?
Well, clearly the Russians and the Chinese have no intent of backing down on their decades-long expansion and modernization of their nuclear weapon arsenal. The Chinese just a few years ago tripled the size of their intercontinental ballistic missile arsenal. And so there's no real pressure for them to actually rein it in unless they're confronted with a strong American nuclear deterrent. And I think the president realizes that. Putin also understands the president's desire to get rid of these very dangerous weapons, and that's why he's dangled it out several times as a way to try to forestall harsher actions against his war in Ukraine.
Worth noting, there's been some pushback on this. You had the Democrat on Armed Services ranking member saying Trump's nuclear saber rattling could upend decades of weapons cooperation. And then on the other end of things, you had the Iranian foreign minister, ironically, saying that this is a bad move. But while I have you, I want to ask you about a big announcement from the president's trip in Asia, saying that South Korea is going to be able to build a nuclear-powered submarine in the U.S. How significant is that for this region?
Well, I'm still early stages of understanding what the details and the contours of this deal are. Whether or not it is an addition to or a replay of what we've seen with the Australians in the very well documented AUKUS program, or if it's something different. And just to kind of point to what different could be, it was important that Hanwha and Philadelphia Shipyard were mentioned by the president as a potential place to do this. That's not a yard that's known for building or handling nuclear propulsion design or construction. But if you look at what the Chinese communists have done just recently in the last year, they've taken another page out of the Soviet book and to try to take a small modular reactor and backfill it on a conventional diesel submarine. This was a Yuan-class submarine that sank next to the pier last summer.
No doubt, whatever it is, they'll be happy to have it over there in China's backyard. All right, Brent Sadler, thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey everyone,
Right.
I'm Emily Campagno.
So,
Catch me and
Emily!
my co-host.
All right, here we're going to the last show, the last program for this morning, well, for today's show, because I got a lot of things to do today. So I want to enjoy the day. And with that said, let's go ahead and watch an episode of Tyson de la Cruz. Let's go for it.
No one to blame for natural disasters. We chalk them up as acts of God. Other times, they can be chalked up as acts of human incompetence, negligence, or good old-fashioned stupidity.
America, we just uncovered potentially one of the most damning government cover-ups in California history. The deadly Palisades fires that killed 12 people and destroyed over 6,800 structures could have been completely prevented if state officials had done their job. New video evidence shows embers smoldering for days while residents called 911 begging for help, and nobody came. But here's the shocking part. Federal investigators claim the fire was undetectable, while we have clear video proof showing smoke raising from the ground for nearly a week before the disaster happened.
It's 11:30 a.m. on January 2nd. A hiker atop the Pacific Palisades films smoldering brush.
What is up, guys? Tyson de la Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly exposes how Gavin Newsom's administration failed its citizens, tried to cover up their negligence, and is now facing massive lawsuits for the victims who lost everything. Let me show you the evidence that completely destroys the government narrative. On January 2nd, 5 days before the Palisades fire exploded, a hiker filmed a video showing embers clearly smoldering in a burn scar from the original Lanchman fire.
Officials allege that 36 hours earlier, Jonathan Rinderneck deliberately set fire in the Palisades. Fire teams responded and put out what was called the Lockman fire.
So on January 1st, this alleged arsonist, Jonathan Rinderneck, set the original Lynchman fire. Fire teams responded and claimed they put it out. But this video from January 2nd shows the fire was still smoldering underground, and it continued to smolder for 5 more days until the catastrophic winds on January 7th turned it into the deadliest fire in LA's history.
6 days later, on January 7th, the fire reignited and would become the Palisades fire, the worst in LA's history, taking 12 lives and over 6,800 structures. On October 7th, the feds claimed that after the original fire was declared fully contained, neither firefighters nor the public could see smoldering embers.
But here's where California's government story falls apart completely. Federal officials claimed that on October 7th that the fire was deeply seated and continued to burn undetected. And they said neither firefighters nor public could see the smoldering embers. That is a complete lie, and we have video proof.
But this new video shows the fire still smoldering, not a hose or fire crew in sight.
When we heard the federal officials announce that the Lockman fire embers continue to burn undetected, we knew that that wasn't accurate. And
not a hose in sight or a fire crew in sight, you guys. California government abandoned this smoldering fire, then lied about it being undetectable when they got caught. But it gets worse, much, much worse. Attorney Michael Castillo represents the victims who are now suing the state, and he revealed that people actually called 911 about the smoke and nobody dispatched to investigate.
And several people contacted us and said, we have video of smoldering embers in the ground in the burn scar of the Lockman fire. And as with the reports we received prior to that, we looked at the video, and sure enough, you can see smoke coming out of the ground.
Multiple people contacted attorneys with video evidence of smoldering embers, but more importantly, people were calling 911 to report the smoke, and dispatch refused to send anybody out.
It's my understanding that not only did your clients go up there and see smoke coming out of the ground, they called 911.
And ultimately we know that no one was dispatched to the area to investigate in response to those 911 calls.
Think about that for a second. Citizens were doing their civic duty, calling 911 to report smoke coming from the ground in a recent burned area. California government response was essentially, we don't care. No one was dispatched, no one investigated, and 5 days later, that smoldering fire exploded into the deadliest wildfire in LA history. Now, a veteran LA Fire Department whistleblower has come forward with explosive allegations that completely contradict the official narrative. This firefighter, who has been with the department for decades, says the Palisades fire could have been completely, absolutely prevented if leadership had followed standard protocol.
A new twist in the Palisades fire investigation, and another one. A whistleblower inside LAFD is questioning why critical heat detection equipment used for years to detect lingering heat underground was not deployed before that fire ignited.
This whistleblower revealed that LA Fire Department has had some thermal imaging technology for over 20 years that's specifically designed to detect underground hotspots that can't be seen with the naked eye. And guess what? They didn't use it.
The FLIR is a tool that we use to see hotspots that we cannot see visually during the daytime, especially when you have so much overgrowth. This is an absolute necessity tool that we've had for 20 years plus.
Would that have prevented the Palisades fire?
Absolutely.
Would that have prevented the Palisades fires? Absolutely. Those are the words of a veteran firefighter who knows exactly what could have been done. They had the technology, they had the time, 7 full freaking days, and they chose not to do anything about it.
If you have infrared cameras showing hotspots that we can't see with the naked eye, we would be able to put those out. And we had 7 days to do that. 7 full days until this fire broke out.
7 days, you guys. They had 7 full days to use their thermal imaging equipment to find and extinguish those underground hotspots. Instead, they abandoned the site and let it smolder until catastrophic winds turned it into a disaster. When confronted with this whistleblower's allegations, the LA Fire Department issued the most pathetic statements that I've ever seen from a government agency trying to cover up their tracks.
Holdover fires can be nearly impossible to detect with infrared imaging, as smoldering often occurs deep below the surface, especially in chaparral terrain where dense root systems conceal residual heat. Under extreme winds, low humidity, and prolonged drought, these fires can reignite despite full suppression and containment efforts.
Nearly impossible to detect with infrared imaging. But their own promotional videos show them using thermal cameras on drones to detect exactly these kinds of hotspots. The department literally promotes this technology on their website.
Those red embers hide under that surface and you can't see them. Well, what the thermal camera on these drones allows us to do is pan that area and see those hotspots.
So the department promotes videos showing their thermal cameras can detect hidden hotspots. But when they were caught not using that technology, they claim it is nearly impossible, they said, to detect underground fires. Which is it? The whistleblower put it perfectly. This department takes zero accountability, points the finger to everybody else. We have hardworking men and women, boots on the ground, doing the best that they can, but we are handcuffed because of the management, the chief, the politics. Now let's talk about the alleged arsonist who started this whole disaster. Jonathan Renderneck, a 29-year-old who used to live in Palisades Highland, has been arrested and charged with federal arson crimes. Federal investigators say they found evidence that Jonathan fantasized about starting a huge fire, took pictures of the point of origin, and made incriminating statements to investigators. They also found that he generated AI images showing people fleeing from massive fires. But here's what's most important. Even though Jonathan started the original fire, the California government negligence is what turned this into a catastrophe. If they had potentially used their thermal imaging equipment, if they had responded properly to 911 calls about the smoke, if they had followed standard protocol, those 12 people would still be alive and 6,800 structures would still be standing. Now the victims are fighting back with a massive lawsuit against the state of California. Attorney Michael Castillo is representing families who lost everything, and he is making it clear that this disaster lies squarely on the state's shoulders. Try to shimmy that one away, Gavin Newsom.
To be clear, you're not pointing the finger at LA Fire Department, LA County Fire Department, you're saying this lies squarely on the state.
That's right. Because the fire rekindled on state land, and because the state had an obligation to go out and inspect its property.
The fire rekindled on state land, which means it's the state responsibility to monitor and maintain that properly. After reports of smoke coming from the ground and in the face of a red flag high wind warning, the state had an obligation to inspect its own land. But Governor Gavin Newsom's office is pushing back, claiming that the lawsuit is baseless and it wasn't the state's responsibility. They're trying to argue that the fire didn't begin on state land, which directly contradicts the ATF's final report. While victims are fighting the state for accountability, they're also battling another enemy, their own insurance companies. The California Fair Plan, which is supposed to be the insurer of last resorts for fire coverage, is denying claims for smoke damage.
And hundreds of homeowners say they still see no path to recovery. Some policyholders who still have homes, but they are damaged and contaminated by smoke, are seeing their claims denied. They feel the Fair Plan is acting in bad faith.
Lily Cathy's house is still standing, but she can only enter it wearing full PPE because toxic ash blew in during the fire. Testing show elevated levels of mercury and arsenic throughout her home, but the California Fair Plan sent her a letter saying they didn't observe any permanent damage resulting from smoke, ash, or soot.
Testing her attorney paper shows just here in the living room, the smoke impact is severe. So Lily believes nearly everything, including her favorite photo of her and her mom she shares this house with, is a loss.
Scott won't even enter his home because court documents say it contains heavy metals, lead. The Fair Plan offered him less than $10,000 to make the necessary repairs for a house that needs to be tore down to the studs. America, the Palisades fire represents everything wrong with the government.
Pull out a card for the
State
day
officials abandoning a smoldering fire, ignored 911 calls from concerned citizens, refused to use available technology, and then lied about being undetectable when they got caught. 12 people died. Over 6,800 structures were destroyed. Families lost everything, and it all could have been prevented if California government officials had simply done their job. Now, those same officials are fighting lawsuits from victims while insurance companies deny legitimate claims for smoke damage. The victims are being failed on every level by the state that was supposed to protect them, by the fire department that was supposed to serve them, and by the insurance companies that were supposed to cover them. This is what happens when you have incompetent leadership more concerned with covering their tracks than protecting citizens. Gavin Newsom's administration failed catastrophically, and now they're trying to escape accountability while victims fight for basic justice. The whistleblower said it perfectly. This department takes zero accountability, points fingers at everybody else. That's California government in a nutshell. Zero accountability, maximum excuses, and the citizens pay the price. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for a great upload. Just letting us know that California and Gavin Newsom is a piece of shit. So sad for the families that lost loved ones and those that got injured, those that lost their homes, lost their whole, like they lost everything. And, you know, jewelry, money, documents, all those could be replaced. Money, it really can't be replaced because that's gone. And, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know what California is. See, I don't understand this world. Like, how do they think that way? Like, what makes their minds think that way? You know, it's just really, 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 really freaking weird. So, without further ado, I'm going to pull out a card for today. Pull out a card for the day. Let me shuffle. Actually, you know what? Let me bring in the camera here. All right, here we go. You know, like this angle, Chloe. I'm so fast that I make the camera like freeze. My little setup right here. Very beautiful. Something very nice, different. I do my readings. All right. Split the deck in 3 ways. Let me go like that. Ooh. We got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. These I already shuffled, but I want to split the deck. Split it like that. And our card, our animal spirit card of the day, Seahorse Spirit. Let me put a little light to this so you can see. So the Seahorse Spirit is watch and wait. Very nice. Beautiful seahorse too. The image is like very pretty. I like the colors. Very beautiful card. Then our Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Things are not going to be so easy. Things are not going to come as smoothly as we think. It's going to take time. With everything in life, it takes time. You can't really you gotta really look out for yourself. You gotta really take care of yourself a lot better. Be more attentive to self. Also be patient. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't let the snap issue and the air traffic issue. Don't let it all get to you. Pack patience. Be patient. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't over exaggerate or overhype or over exaggerate your energy, because it's gonna make you sick. You don't need that. Don't worry. Be happy, and things will find a way. Things will fix itself. It always has. It always will. We will always find a way. And with that said, that's your short little reading for the day. I hope you like the new little short readings of the day. I think this will be a little beautiful addition to the show. Don't you think? I think so. It's very pretty. Okay, so let's bring it back to me. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really nice. That was nice. Oh, man. But I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get going. I got to figure out, do something for today. I don't want to be here at the house. I want to go a little out and about and enjoy this nice, beautiful fall day. It's still windy out there. You can hear the gust. It's not as windy as it was yesterday. Yesterday was really windy. Woof! It was really windy. And but today I can hear the wind, but it's not as gusty as it was yesterday. So that's nice. That's nice, because yesterday the wind was pushing the car around. I hate when those days are when it's really windy and these fucking gusts of wind kind of fishtails your car a little bit. You have control, but it's kind of turbulence on the airlines. You have a turbulent ride, because the crosswinds are like really strong. Well, we had that type of day yesterday, and yeah, it's unique because every Halloween is different here. We never have like last year's Halloween was actually pretty good, but this year was very windy. The year before, it was good. It was good. I think it was like 2 years behind that, so I would say 5 years back. It was wet. It was it was just a horrible Halloween, and I remember when it snowed on Halloween here. That was crazy. But I hope everyone had a great Halloween and continue having a great Day of the Dead. And it's All Saints Day also. So just enjoy. Be careful if you're going to the supermarkets, if you're going to the mall, if you're going to the gas station. Always be alert, pay attention, lock your doors of your car. Just like for the females, if you have your purse, like put it on the floor of the passenger seat and lock your doors and put your gas in your car and just be careful. If someone comes up to you, you don't know who the fuck they want, and they come threatening, you take that pump out and you spray them with fucking gas and deal with the consequences later because, motherfucker, you're going straight to hell, bitch. Light that motherfucking cigarette up and throw that shit on the floor and be a badass and light that motherfucker up like a fucking infernal. That would be fucking cool. But watch your back, the supermarkets and stuff. It's more like the parking lot. Just be careful in those parking lots and the malls too. Because people are watching and people are trying to take advantage of like the situation, and these opportunistic individuals will take the opportunity to cause terror amongst us. So just be on alert. That's all. And just be wise in what you do. And with that said, have a great day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll come on tomorrow. I usually take Sundays off, but I may come on Sunday for a little bit. Probably do something like this early, and get out the way, and rest the weekend because like my head's been just acting a little weird, and I talked about it in the beginning of the show, so you're gonna have to rewatch and listen. And everyone who's rewatching, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. And like I always say, have a good morning, good afternoon, good night, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And I'll see you tomorrow. And let's see what happens on this beautiful Day of the Dead. I hope it'll be a good day. I'm just saying because people are going crazy with the snap, so don't get caught up in that shit. Okay, stay safe at home. You're gonna be okay. We're all gonna be okay. All right, guys, take care. Peace.